Hi everyone, this is Adam again, and in this video I'm going to go over the coordinate geometry on the line. Okay, so this is hopefully the second last video of this maths series. So I'm just going to be going over kind of simple things with the line, more complicated things with the line, kind of slope, equation, distance, things like this. Okay, so first of all, the distance between 2 points, d, is simply equal to the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So it's just the difference between them. So if this is, say, x1, y1, and then this is x2, y2, this is the distance d. So it's just Pythagoras. That's all. So again, Pythagoras is just simply, if I asked you what this distance was, you'd say it's x2 minus x1. And then this distance here is just going to be the magnitude of y1 minus y2. Okay? But like obviously when you square it up here, it doesn't make a difference as to whether you have plus or minus. Okay? The midpoint of a line, sorry, the midpoint of a line. So if I ask for the midpoint m is quite simply an average of the x values, average of the y values. And that's it. And then the slope, okay, sorry, I shouldn't have used m up here because the slope is also called m. So say midpoint. The slope m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is just the rise over the run. And that's it. Okay? So I'll just do one, I'll do one full example and then we can go from there. Okay, will I do one example? No, I won't bother. I'll just do maybe, yeah, I'll do 2 questions from this section that I think are necessary. So it says, find A and B if the point 6, 3 is the midpoint of the line this and this. So basically, you have 6, 3 is the midpoint. Between the points, 2A minus B, A minus 2B, and 4A plus 3B. So the midpoint of the 2 points, so 6, 3 is equal to, so remember it's an average of the 2x values. So 2A plus A is 3A minus 2B over 2. Then the y values, if you add them together, you get 6A plus 2B over 2. So now, that means that 6 equals this. So multiply both sides by 2, I get 12 equals 3A minus 2B. And then my other equation, if I divide, I get 3 is equal to 6A divided by 2 is 3A plus B. So grand. I can now minus these equations from each other and get 9 equals 3A minus 3A is 0. Minus 2B minus B is minus 3B. So B equals minus 3. Plug it back up into the top equation. I get 12 equals 3A plus 6. So A equals 2. So A equals 2. B equals minus 3. Great. So that's just using the midpoint. And then here it says, so the line M is equal to 3x minus 4y equals 8. Oh, sorry, minus 8 equals 0. And then the line K is equal to, sorry, the line K is equal to ax minus 8y equals 12. It says if M is parallel to K, then find the value of A. Now remember, the slope is always y equals mx plus c. So for the first line, I'm going to bring the y's over. So I get 3x minus 8 equals 4y. The second equation, I'm going to bring the minus 8y over and bring the 12 over. So I get ax minus 12 equals 8y. Now, you divide, so I get 3 over 4x minus 8, minus 2. It doesn't really matter because I'm not interested in what the 2 is. I couldn't care less what the 2 is. Equals y, and I also get that a over 8 minus 1.5 equals y. So the slopes are the same, which means, there should be an x there. The slopes are the same, which means this has to be the same as this. And therefore a has to be 6. Because 6 over 8 is the same thing as 3 over 4. Okay? And remember, if lines are perpendicular, then m1 times m2 equals minus 1. Okay? Very, very important. All right? Now there's two equations for a line. You have y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. And you have the one that I used above, which is y equals mx plus c. If you don't know what the line is, and you want to know, and you want to figure out what it is, you will choose the first one. Okay? If you know what the line is, and you want to know, and you want to draw it, then you'll use the second one. Okay? So that's basically what it is. If they give you y equals 2x plus 3 and they ask you to plot it, you'd say, okay, y equals 2x plus 3. Grand. So my y-intercept is 3 and my slope is 2. And then it's easily to draw it from there. Okay? So let's do a quick example. So it says, find the equation of the line which passes through 3, 4 with a slope of a half. So slope is a half. And it has to go through 3, 4. So 3, 4 is equal to x1, y1. So if I plug that into this equation, I get y minus 4 equals a half into x minus 3. Multiply both sides by 2 and bring it over. I get 2y minus 8 minus x plus 3 equals 0. So I get 2y minus x minus 5 equals 0. So that's the equation of the line. Okay. Then it says, find the equation of the line which passes through this and this. Okay, don't really care. Find the equation of the line which passes through this and is parallel to this. Okay, so the second question was just the exact same, so we're going to skip that. So it says, find the equation of the line which passes through 2, 3. And it is parallel to 3x plus 4y plus 6. So it's parallel, which means it has the same slope. And therefore, I want to know what is the slope of this line. So again, this is equal to y minus 3 over 4, x minus 1.5. So the slope is minus 3 over 4. Okay? So then I just plug it back up into the equation. It's y minus y1, so it's y minus 3 equals m, which is minus 3 over 4, into x minus 3. Multiply everything by 4 and bring it over. Get 4y minus 12 plus 3x minus 9 equals 0. So you get 4y plus 3x minus 21 equals 0. Like so. Okay? Sorry, 1 second. I might have made a mistake. Yeah, that should be a 2. Sorry, that's my fault. This should be a 2 because it goes through, the x value is 2. So sorry. So this then should be minus 6. And then this would be minus 18. So sorry. And then it says, L is the line 4x plus 3y plus 8 equals 0. The line M contains this and is perpendicular to L. So it's perpendicular to L. So first of all, what is the slope of L? The slope of L is y equals minus 4 over 3x minus 8 over 3. So I just divided everything by 3, brought the stuff over the right hand side. This is M. So remember, to get the slope of M, you put a minus in front of it, so it becomes plus. You flip the fraction, so it's plus 3 over 4. Now remember, if you do plus 3 over 4 multiplied by minus 4 over 3, you get minus 1. So we get this relation back up here that I said a while ago. So again, it's just y minus y1 is going to be m x minus x1. Multiply everything by 4, bring it over, so it's 4y plus 12 minus 3x plus 6 equals 0. So it's going to be 4y minus 3x plus 18 equals 0. And that's that. Okay. Now, if they asked you to plot this line, then you would say, okay, this is y equals 3 over 4 x minus 4.5. Because this is the slope, this is the y-intercept, which is basically where it hits the y-axis. So if you're going to draw it, so sorry, I'm going to try and draw this as accurately as I can. Okay. And say, let's just do up here. Like that. So now, it goes through minus 4.5. So that's minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. So it's minus 4.5. So it goes through here. The slope is 3 over 4. What does that mean? That means the rise over the run is 3 over 4. So for every 3 it rises, it runs 4. So if this goes up 3, so 1, 2, 3. If it goes up to here, it goes to the right by 4. Okay, so hopefully everybody can kind of stay with me there. Sorry, that's definitely not 3. So the rise of a run. So whenever you have a slope that's 3 over 4, that means that it rises up 3 and it goes across 4. That's the easiest way to draw the slope, okay? And then you simply just join these 2 points. And that's it. So that then is the line. If this is the line, say T, this is just T, okay? All right, I think I will leave that bit now at that and move on to the area of a triangle. So, how do we get the area of a triangle? See, this is the one thing that people will do. They will see, oh, there's a formula for it. And there is a formula for it. The formula for an area of a triangle is a half the magnitude x1, y2 minus x2, y1. And you'll sit there and you'll say, that's perfect. I have a formula, so I don't need to worry about it. And then I'll tell you, okay, this point, say it's 3 minus 1. This point is 2, 1. This point is minus 2 minus 3. And you'll sit there and you'll say, okay, I have x1, y1, and I have x2, y2. That's 2 points. I have 3 points. What am I supposed to do? Okay. What you're supposed to do is, you're supposed to make one of these points 0 by doing a translation. Okay. So basically you just drag one of them to 0, 0. So I'm going to drag this one to 0, 0. So how do I drag it to 0, 0? I have to add 2 and add 3. So if I add 2 and add 3 to these points, I'll get 4, 4. I'll get 5, 2. So now this is my x1, y1. This is my x2, y2. Okay? So now the area, if you plug it into your formula, it's a half the magnitude. So x1 is 4 times y2 is 2, so it's 4 times 2, so it's 8, minus 4 times 5, 20. So it's a half the magnitude of minus 12. The magnitude, you basically just take the size. So if it's minus 12, you just take 12. 12 over 2, 6. Remember, it's always units squared because you're working with areas. Just be careful, okay? So to use that formula, you always have to bring one of them to 0, 0. Okay? And that's kind of it. So just be careful with that, all right? So one of them as well, I'll just do one more of these. And then we can move on to, and then there's only 3 things left. So another one would be, I know, that's fairly self-explanatory. You just make one of them 0, 0. You say, you've minus 2, you've minus 3, just add 2 and add 3 to all the points. Use the other 2. That's kind of it. Okay, the next thing that's kind of important is the perpendicular distance to a line. So basically, if you have some sort of point over here, and you have a line like this, what is the perpendicular distance here? D. So basically, what is the shortest distance to the line as far as the point is concerned? So if this was x1, y1, and the line is going to be ax plus by plus c equals 0. Specifically, it has to be in this form, okay? That's how you know what a, b, and c are, okay? The distance is the magnitude of ax1 plus y2 plus c, all divided by the square root of a squared plus b squared, like that. And that's it, okay? So one of the questions here, it says, show that 2 minus 1 is equidistant. So the distances are the same to the lines with the equations 4x plus 3y minus 20 equals 0 and y equals 12x plus 10 over 5. So just showing that the distance from this point to both those lines are the same. So I'm just going to figure out, okay, what's the distance from the point to one of the lines, and then find the distance from the other point to the line as well. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. All right, so first of all, let's figure out what D is to this line. So if we do that using the formula, D is equal to 4x. So it's the magnitude 4 times the 2. So you're plugging in 2 for the x and you get 8. Plus 3 times the minus 1. So it's going to be minus 3. Minus 20. All over the square root of 4 squared plus 3 squared. So on top, we're going to get 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 minus 20 is minus 15 over 5. This is 3. So it's 3 units. Okay? For the second one, I need to rewrite it. So this is 5y is going to be 12x plus 10. But remember, I need it to equal 0. So I need it to be 0 is going to be 12x minus 5y plus 10. So now this is our new a, this is our new b, and this is our c. So the distance for this one is going to be, so you're plugging in 2 and minus 1. So it's 12 times 2, that's 24. Minus 1 in there is plus 5, plus 10. All over the square root of 12 squared plus minus 5 squared. So on top, I'm going to get 29, I'm going to get 39 all over 13. And this is indeed 3 units. So that's the kind of moral of the story, just to make sure that when you're doing it, if they give you a line like this, you always change it into this form. Sorry, not that form, this form. So it always has to equal 0 like this, okay? So just be careful about that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do this one because this one is quite hard when it goes to kind of, yeah. Okay, so it says find the equations of the lines that are perpendicular to 8x plus 15y plus 1 equals 0. So they're perpendicular to 8x plus 15y plus 1 equals 0. So first of all, what is the slope of this line? The slope of this line is going to be y equals minus 8 over 15 x minus 1 over 15. So this is the slope, m. So the slope of our lines are going to be 15 over 8. So remember, you change the sign, you flip it, so you get 15 over 8. So that's the slope of the lines that we're looking for. So therefore, it's y is going to be 15 over 8x plus some c. So the c I don't know, I don't really care. So it's going to be 0 equals 15 over 8x minus y plus c. So the lines are going to be of this form, okay? And it says that are a distance of 5 units from 1, 1. So d in this case equals 5, and it's from the point 1, 1. So remember, you do the magnitude, you plug in 1 and 1 into these. So it's 15 over 8 minus 1 plus c all over the square root of 15 over 8 squared plus 1 squared. I'm not sure if that square root is actually nice, to be honest. So I'm just going to have a quick look. 15 over 8. Okay, it is. So this now becomes, this is going to be the magnitude of 7 over 8 plus c all over 17 over 8. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the 17 over 8 to the left hand side. So 17 over 8 times 5, that's going to give me 85 over 8 is equal to the magnitude of 7 over 8 plus c. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8 just to get rid of it. So it's 85 equals the magnitude of 7 plus 8c. Now you might sit there and say, okay, there's 2 different answers to this. How am I going to get 2 different answers for this equation? Well, okay, so you can pause the video and just think about it. But the main idea is just, if I told you the magnitude of x is equal to 2, what does that mean? That means x can either be plus or minus 2. So if the magnitude of 7 plus 8c is equal to 85, that means that the magnitude of 7 plus, that means that 7 plus 8c has to be equal to plus or minus 85. So first of all, let's just say if it's plus 85. So 7 plus 8c equals 85. Then 8c is going to be equal to 78. So c, if you divide that, I don't think it, yeah, it definitely doesn't go in. That's going to be 9.75. So that's one value of c. For the other value, you'd say 7 plus 8c is equal to minus 85. So 8c is going to be minus 92. So c is going to be minus 11.5. So those are your 2 values of c. So the equations of the lines are going to be this. So it's going to be 0 equals 15 over 8x minus y plus c, where c is either 9.75 or it's minus 11.5. So that's how you'd solve one of those, okay? So you just leave it as like a plus c, all right? Okay, the next one that I want to go over is basically just calculating the different angles between between lines. So let's say we have like two lines, one's like this, one's like that, and they want you to figure out what angle is this. Okay? So let's say this has a slope of m1, this has a slope of m2. Tan theta is equal to plus or minus m1 minus m2 over 1 plus m1 m2. Like that. So that's it. Okay? So let's do a couple examples. So basically, it'll be find the equations of the lines through the point this that make an angle of 45 with this. So what you're looking for, you're saying the line goes through the point 4, 3, which means it's going to be y minus y1 is going to be m into x minus 4. So it's going to be y is going to be mx. It's going to be minus 4m plus 3. So it's going to be some line with some slope. Don't know what it is. But you know that it makes an angle of 45 with the line 6x plus y minus 5 equals 0. So this is y equals minus 6x plus 5, which means the slope of this line is minus 6. So m1 equals minus 6, and then this would be m2 up here, which is a thing that I'm looking to solve for. And it says it makes an angle of 45. So tan theta is a tan of 45, which is 1. That's equal to plus or minus m1 minus m2 over 1 plus m1 m2. So let's let it be the plus first. So 1 equals, so it's going to be minus 6 minus m2 all over 1 minus 6m2. Cross multiply, I get 1 minus 6m2 is equal to minus 6 minus m2. Bring them over, I get 5 is going to be 5m2. So m2 equals 1. So if m2 equals 1, then we get an angle of 45. We could also equal it to the minus and say minus. In this case, you would get, if you do let it be minus, instead of the minuses here, you just have pluses. So it's 6 plus m2 all over 1 minus 6m2. So 1 minus 6m2 is equal to 6 plus m2. Bring them across, you will get minus 5 is going to be equal to, bring this across, you get 7m2. Okay, so m2 would equal minus 5 over 7. That has to be incorrect. There's no way. Sorry, I'm just kind of struggling. Is the top one incorrect? Yes, the top one is incorrect. Sorry. So here, when I bring the minus 6 over, it becomes a plus 6. 6 plus 1 is not 5. It's 7. So here, we get that the slope is going to be 7 over 5. And you might be wondering, how did I know that was incorrect? How did I know that my answers didn't make sense? It's because it said that you're making an angle of 45 degrees, which means here, so your slope is minus 6, which is something like this. If you do 45 degrees from it, you get this, and say you get this. Sorry, that's really, really bad. 45 is something like this. And the other one would be like this. And notice, these two lines are perpendicular. And if you look at the two slopes I got, they are perpendicular. If you multiply them together, you get minus 1. That's how I knew that I was incorrect, because when I got the 1 up here, I said, oh, well, 1 times minus 5 over 7 is not equal to minus 1, and therefore I must be incorrect. Because this is 45, and this is also 45, And therefore, whatever answers I get, they must also be perpendicular. Okay? All right, so that's kind of that. And then the very last bit on the chapter is basically dividing a line segment into a given ratio A is to B. Okay, so you want to divide it into A is to B. So if you want to divide it into 1 is to 1, you get the midpoint. Okay, but in this case we wanted A is to B, so maybe 1 is to 2 or something, you know. So the point is equal to bx1 plus ax2 all over b plus a, by1 plus ay2 over b plus a. Okay, so that's the formula. So now it says here you have 2 points. You have -5, 3, and you also have 3, -1. And they want you to split it up into 3 is to 1. So the ratio is 3 is to 1. So that's A is to B. Okay, so basically what they want is they want 3 things here and then just 1 thing here. So somewhere around here is the point they want. Okay. All right. So the way you do it is you'd say, okay, now this is called internal. Okay. So external, you basically, I'll do it in a second, but if they wanted to do internally, then they want to find the point that is 3 and 1 on the line. Okay. I'll show what externally is in a second. But basically, this point R is equal to, so again, look at the formula. It's B is 1. So it's 1 times, so again, this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. All right. And this is the only time when it actually matters. Okay. So if they say they want you to split x, so if this is x and this is y, and they say they want you to split xy into 3 is to 1, x has to be x1, y1, and y has to be y2, x2, y2. You have to do it that way. You can't switch the order. Okay. The majority of the time, order of things doesn't matter. In this case, it does. Okay, so that's just one thing to note, just to be careful. So R is going to be, so again, B is 1. So it's 1 times x1, so it's -5, plus 3 times x2 is 9. All over, if you add them together, you get 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay. Then for the y value, it's going to be b, which is 1 times y1, which is 3. Minus 3 over 4. So R is simply going to be 1, 0. Okay. And hopefully you could have seen that as well, or now that you've seen it, it's kind of obvious, because if you look at the x values, if I want a point that's 3 times further away from -5 than it is 3, the answer is 1, because 1 is 2 away from 3 and it's 6 away from -5. The same thing with 0. 0 is 3 away from 3 and it's 1 away from -1, and therefore the answer is this. So that's internal. And then external is basically where you have your 2 points, x and y, just like before. But now you do it externally. So you're finding some point out here where this is going to be 1. And here you're jumping twice like that. Okay. So if this is now they're saying do it for 3 is to 1, A is to B. Now you go back in your formula, and wherever it's a B, you just replace B with -B. Okay. So do the exact same thing as I did above. So it's -5 and 3. It's 3 and -1. Now this point, if I call it Z, Z is equal to. So before we had, it was plus B x1. Now it's going to be minus B x1. Plus AX2 all over minus B plus A. And minus B y1 plus A y2 all over minus b plus a. Okay? So now, again, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's going to be minus 1 times minus 5. So it's 5 plus 3 times 3 is going to be 6 all over 2. Sorry, no, that should be, sorry. A is 3, so it's 3 times 3, so it's 9. Sorry, that's my fault. And then it's minus 3 here. Then it's plus 3 times minus 1, so it's going to be minus 3 again, all over 2. So this one now is going to be 7 and minus 3. Okay? And again, if you look at it, 7 is 12 away from minus 5, but 12 divided by 3 is 4. 7 is only 4 away from 3. Okay? Minus 3 is 6 away from 3, but it's only 2 away from minus 1. So it's always that when you say you're doing it in the ratio of 3:1, you're always 3 times as far away from the other point as you are from the other one. Okay? And that's it. That is the last of the coordinate geometry on the line. Okay? So, yeah. I think I will leave that for now anyways. Okay? So yeah, thanks very much for paying attention, and I'll see you in the last video on the coordinate geometry of the circle. So, thanks so much.